everyone and welcome to Inderes TV. Today we're going to talk about Fiskars with Analyst Rauli Juva. Welcome.
Thank you.
Earlier in June, Fiskars issued a profit warning. What were the reasons behind this?
It was basically related to the US and the tariff situation causing a drop in the demand. So the US demand dropped pretty significantly during May and the early parts of June, which obviously has a negative results impact as such, and then also the kind of actual impact from the tariffs. So goods that Fiskars is importing, for instance, from China and Europe, they are not able to compensate for the tariffs in their own selling prices in the short term. So that will also have a negative margin impact.
So from several.
Yeah, it's so both lower sales and weaker margins, and the impact will be especially kind of in the short term. So it's that the Q2 should be quite weak and probably Q3 as well, and then perhaps they should be able to better start compensating at least on the margin side.
So how big percentage of Fiskars sales come from the US?
Yeah, it's mostly nowadays, there's basically two independent segments inside Fiskars. So there's the Fiskars segment in the Fiskars group, which is a bit hard, but the Fiskars side is almost half of the sales is from US. So that's really
big number.
Yeah, that's really US dependent, and that's obviously the one there that is being hit right now. And then in the Vita segment, it's less. It's only like 10% or so. So that's not so meaningful there. So in a group level, it's around one third, but very much centered in the Fiskars
segment. Yeah. So the EBIT target for the company is about 15%. And given this situation, how far from that is the company right now?
Yeah, they were quite far even before. So even in the peak COVID years when they actually, I think they gave the target. Yeah, basically just on the beginning of the kind of COVID boom. Even in the peak, they did like 12% plus, and now for the past few years they have been around 10, and now this year our forecast is something like 8.5. So they are very far, and that target was originally given kind of for the period which is ending this year. So they are obviously not going to be anywhere close to that, and going forward, it seems that they will give separate targets for the two
groups in
two segments or two kind of companies within the company. So we will not have a that kind of a group level target anymore going forward. But it was ambitious target to begin with, and obviously the demand situation has been quite weak after the COVID for them. So that has hindered them to developing even close to that.
Yeah. So due to the profit warning, we also did some changes in our own estimates. Could you open up a bit about that?
Yeah. Like it was somewhat expected already after Q1 that the tariffs will have a negative impact, and the kind of earlier guidance of improving EBIT this year is at risk, but still they lowered that actually quite a bit. So last year they did 111 million, so I think in adjusted EBIT, and now they are going for 90 to 110, and our estimate now is a bit below 100, which is around 8.5 margin, like I said. So it's it's soft, and it's pretty much in the levels they were like before 2019. So unfortunately, it seems that kind of there hasn't been that much structural development, but it was more supported by the good demand of the COVID times. Obviously now the demand is maybe lower than you would if there is some kind of normal to be found. it's lower than normal, but still the profitability is definitely has maybe not improved structurally as many believed a few years ago.
Yeah. So kind of in the wrong direction there.
Yeah. Now especially this year, so far they had defended quite well the profitability when the demand was coming down in 23 and 24, but now they are definitely seeing also weaker margins.
Yeah. So in May, Ahlström said she will step down as CEO, and the new taking the reins is Jyri Luomakoski.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this and the situation and the new person at the reins?
Yeah, and he's a temporary CEO, so
Yeah.
So the new one should be found. Yeah, obviously the performance hasn't been that good, like I said, even if the markets has been tough as well. The company's performance has not been that good. So Natalie has had been on board for I think 4.5 years or so. You know, there was
5 years.
there was a good start during the COVID boom, but then after that the company's performance hasn't been that strong. So it's perhaps understandable that they want to change the person and the role is also changing quite a bit, because there will be like mentioned, very independent two companies inside the company, and they might be splitting up completely at some point going forward. Yeah. So the role of the group CEO is not.
It's a different.
Yeah, it's not so operative or much at all operative basically going forward. So that might also require maybe a different kind of person. But yeah, still it was a bit of a surprise, and of course came pretty sudden, since they needed to appoint a temporary CEO. And Jyri has been on Fiskars board I think for 9 years already, so he knows the company, and he has a long background of being the CEO of Uponor in the stock exchange. So he's definitely a experienced leader as such. So you know, he's probably
right person for the job.
Well suited, to handle the temporary thing, and then it's interesting to see what kind of person they will hire for the permanent one.
Yeah. So what about the valuation recommendation at the moment?
Yeah, we continue there on the negative side. So we have a reduce, and the valuation is quite high, with especially with the earnings estimates coming down for this year following the profit warning. So I think the PE is like around 20, and EBIT is something like 16 or so. So even with quite positive forecast for the coming few years that the sales and margin development would turn around, it still doesn't look really cheap, and like I mentioned, they have struggled already quite a few years with the sales development, especially, and now this year with the margins as well. So if anything, there's a risk that those expectations will be postponed even further.
Yeah. Thank you, Rauli, so much for all these comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.